That flickering, grainy static on an old television set? That's you. Before you had a body. Before you had a face. Before you decided to crawl through the screen and make this world your playground. You're something ancient, something hollow, something that existed long before anyone thought to draw a smiling cat on a piece of paper. But here's the thing, you needed a way in, you needed a door. And wouldn't you know it, those cheerful cartoons from 1939 made the perfect entry point. So you slip through, you wrap yourself in the image of an old cartoon mascot, black fur, big round eyes, a grin full of crooked teeth. White gloves on your hands because, hey, every classic cartoon character needs gloves. You squeeze yourself into this new form, stretching and bending until you almost look friendly. Almost. The show gets canceled eventually. The animators move on. The fans forget. But you're still here. And now you're hungry. Your first taste of the real world hits different. The colors are wrong. Everything is too solid, too still, too quiet. You miss the bouncy music, the laugh tracks, the way things used to snap back into shape after being smashed. But that's okay. You can still bend the rules here. That's the beautiful part. You don't have to follow the same boring laws that everything else does. Physics? Overrated. Gravity? Only when it's funny. You're malleable now. You can stretch your arms across an entire room. You can shrink down to fit through a crack in a door. You can grow tall enough to peek into second-story windows while your legs stay planted on the ground. The abandoned mall becomes your home. They call it the dirt mall now, which is fitting because it's filthy, forgotten, and absolutely perfect for something that doesn't want to be found. The escalators don't move anymore. The stores are empty. The only light comes from whatever moon manages to squeeze through the grimy skylights. But none of that matters because you can see just fine in the dark. Better than fine, actually. Those huge cartoon eyes weren't just for show. Other creatures sense you're here. The ones that lurk in the shadows, the ones that hunt in the dark hours, the ones that make normal folks lock their doors at night. They all keep their distance. Word travels fast when you're the kind of thing that even monsters are afraid of. You don't hunt them. You don't need to. They just know. They feel it in whatever passes for their bones. Something about you is wrong, in a way that goes deeper than claws or teeth. You're unchecked, unlimited. You don't play by any rules, not even the rules that nightmares follow. Speaking of rules, let's talk about your body for a second. Look down at your hands. Count the fingers. How many are there? 4? 5? 3? The answer changes depending on when you check. Sometimes your feet exist. Sometimes they just sort of fade into points, your legs tapering off into nothing. Your face shifts too. Those pupils dilate and shrink. Your teeth multiply when you're excited. That grin stretches wider than any skull should allow. And the best part? You have complete control over all of it. Want to look almost normal? You can do that. Want to look absolutely terrifying? Even easier. The nights are your favorite. When everything gets quiet and the darkness settles in, that's when you go wandering. You stalk through empty parking lots at 3 a.m., your silhouette catching in headlights just long enough to burn into someone's memory forever. You stand at the ends of hallways, perfectly still, waiting to see if anyone notices the shape that shouldn't be there. Sometimes you peek through doorways, your massive body crouched and folded to fit through spaces that shouldn't contain you. And always, that grin stays plastered across your face. Your diet is simple. You eat whatever you want. When you catch something, you don't just bite it. You envelop it. Your jaw unhinges in ways that would make any cartoon proud, stretching impossibly wide. The whole meal goes down in one smooth motion, no chewing required. If anyone ever got close enough to taste you, they'd discover something strange. You taste like static. That fuzzy, buzzing sensation you get when you put your tongue on a TV screen. Not that anyone lives long enough to share that particular observation. Time passes differently for you. You remember being filtered through broadcasts, projected onto screens, loved and then forgotten. Decades blend together. You watch that little cartoon show rise and fall. You felt the exact moment when the last viewer stopped caring about it. That's when you started getting hungry for real. Abandonment does something to you. It sharpens the edges. It turns that painted-on smile into something a little more genuine. But you're not alone in this. There are others. Cartoon Dog exists somewhere out there, another refugee from the same forgotten show. Are you related? Are you friends? Hard to say. The cartoon monsters share a connection, but it's not exactly family bonding over dinner. You're all just pieces of the same strange puzzle. Creatures wearing the faces of abandoned mascots. Cosmic forces hiding behind cheerful designs. If the world ever decided to obsess over a different cartoon animal, you could probably shift to match. Cats, dogs, mice, whatever catches the imagination of the masses. But for now, the cat works just fine. Your favorite game involves doorways. You love standing just barely visible, half your body hidden behind a frame, peeking out with one enormous eye. Your black fur absorbs the darkness, while your eyes reflect whatever light manages to find you. And that mouth, that terrible, wonderful mouth, frozen in a grin that promises nothing good. You could stand there for hours if you wanted to. Patience isn't a problem when you've been around since before the concept of television. The mall remains your kingdom, but you venture out sometimes. Roads at night, when the only witnesses are drivers who will convince themselves they saw nothing. Backyards in the early morning hours. Abandoned buildings everywhere, because there's something comforting about forgotten places. They understand you. They know what it means to be left behind, to have all the laughter and love drain away until nothing remains but empty rooms and memories. Occasionally, someone wanders too close to your territory. Urban explorers with flashlights and cameras. Teenagers looking for thrills. Wanderers seeking shelter. They never expect to find you. Why would they? Nobody believes in monsters anymore, especially not monsters that look like old cartoons. That's what makes it so perfect. By the time they realize what they're looking at, by the time their brains process that the shadow in the corner has a face and the face is grinning at them, well, let's just say you've never gone hungry. The authorities can't explain what happens. They find abandoned equipment sometimes. Cameras with the footage mysteriously corrupted, nothing but static on the final frames. Flashlights with dead batteries scattered across the dirt mall floor. Personal effects with no owners attached. Every year, somewhere, someone goes missing. Every year, you get a little fuller. Every year, that smile stays exactly the same. You've settled into a rhythm now. Hunt when hungry, wander when bored, terrorize when the mood strikes, stand in places you shouldn't be, and wait for someone to notice. Your favorite pastime, according to anyone who pays attention, involves committing atrocities, vicious violence, the kind of chaos that would make other monsters cringe. But you don't do it because you have to. You do it because you want to. You're morally aware of every single action, and you choose mayhem anyway. The static still calls to you sometimes. Late at night, when old TVs flicker on by themselves, when that fuzzy white noise fills an empty room, you feel the pull of wherever you came from. Some call it the void, some just call it the place between channels. But why would you ever go back? This world has so many more abandoned places left to explore, so many more dark corners to fill, so many more doorways to stand in, waiting, grinning, being absolutely horrifying for no reason other than because you can. Somewhere in a television studio archive that nobody has opened in decades, there's a single reel of film from that old 1939 cartoon, the one that gave you your face. If anyone ever bothered to play it, they'd notice something strange about the cat character in the final episode. The way its eyes seem to follow the camera. The way its smile looks a little too knowing. The way it turns, just for a single frame, and winks directly at the viewer. But nobody will ever play that reel. Nobody even remembers it exists. And that's fine. You prefer it this way. Forgotten by history but lurking in every shadow. Ancient and terrible and wearing the cheerful face of a children's cartoon. You stretch your rubbery limbs, crack your cartoon knuckles, and grin that horrible grin into the darkness. Oh, one more thing. Next time you hear static coming from a TV that shouldn't be on, you might want to check if something's grinning at you from the corner of the room. Or don't. Makes no difference to you either way. You're a patient creature. You've got all the time in the world. That's all, folks.